On the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Theodore Gomez, 24-02266. Council appearance.
Good morning, Your Honor. Haley Fortuna Gill on behalf of the people practicing pursuant to Michigan Court Rule 8.120.
Jacob Raleigh on behalf of Mr. Gomez.
To make a motion to practice under that.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to practice under Michigan Court Rule 8.120.
Motion is granted. Today was the date scheduled for a hearing on a probation violation. Are we having a hearing?
No, Your Honor, this will be the
Let's see. It's accurate, Mr. Gomez, you want to plead guilty to the violation?
Yes, unfortunately.
Excuse me?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give is the truth and the whole truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes, Your Honor.
You can put your hands down. Okay, Mr. Gomez, you have the right to have a contested hearing and have the prosecution and the probation department put forth evidence to establish your guilt as to the alleged violations. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
You want to unconditionally waive your exam?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, waive your hearing, not your exam.
Yes, Your Honor.
Anyone threatening you to do that?
No, Your Honor.
Any promises being extended to you if you waive your hearing today?
No, Your Honor.
As to the violation that you failed to report to probation back on February 12th, 2025, how do you plead?
Your Honor, Mr. Hannah said he dropped
You dropped what?
that violation.
He said it to who?
Your Honor, on the report I received, he did write kind of reporting February dismissed violation number 3.
He reported on December 12th, I mean, on February 12th, because I signed this on the 13th or the 19th. When did he report?
I'm not sure.
It was the next day.
The next day of what?
After the schedule one.
Why didn't you report on the schedule?
I just missed it in my calendar. I called him to say later that same day. He said, just come in tomorrow. You just call me tomorrow.
As to the violation that you tested positive for alcohol with the ETG 3,168 nanogram per milliliter at reality counseling on January 23rd, 2025. How do you plead?
Well, that was my first test, Your Honor, and I didn't realize you had to bring in any.
I said, how did you plead? I said, how did you plead?
Sorry,
Guilty or not guilty?
guilty.
And then as to the violation that you failed to appear for testing at reality counseling on February 1st, 2025, how do you plead?
Not guilty.
Factual basis.
Mr. Gomez, is it true that you were sentenced to a term of probation in this court in January of this year?
Yes, Your Honor, yes.
And was one of the terms of that probation that you were not to consume any alcohol?
Yes,
Is it true that you violated that term and tested positive for alcohol on January?
yes, I did, but there was tenure and certain. I had taken a over-the-counter medication, cold remedy medication, and I didn't realize you had to bring in every time you test, if you take prescriptions or any kind of medication to the testing. That's why because I'm not drinking.
Were you also required to attend regular substance testing?
Yes,
Is it true that you failed to appear at the allotted time for testing on January?
yes, I was 1 minute late and they wouldn't take me. Told me to come in next day.
Is that an excuse for everything?
I know, no,
And absolutely everything.
I know, well, I just started.
Did you think
Your Honor.
that I believe that you tested with 3,168 nanogram per milliliter because you had some cough syrup?
NyQuil.
I've heard that one before.
I know,
Did you drink the whole bottle of NyQuil?
no, just two of the things. Two of the things.
You are finished with your factual basis?
I believe so, Your Honor. Yes.
I'll accept your plea. I find your plea made freely, voluntarily, and intelligently, although I find that you have a multitude of excuses, which I don't have time for. You are way too old for me to have to deal with an excuse for every violation that came before me. Shouldn't have had any violations.
Yes, Your Honor.
This is a matter that was pled down to avoid you getting a super drunk. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you think that I think that you took the recommended dose of NyQuil and that put you above or made you test a 3,125 nano or 68 nanogram per milliliter, then you must think that you're smarter than I am. I've had every excuse in the book, from taking NyQuil or using a very rigid regimen of hand sanitizer. What did we hear today? Someone was cleaning products. We've heard all kinds of things. It's all been tested, and I can assure you those do not hold weight here. Not only has it been tested, I had a benchmate take her vacation and go and test every day using all the excuses that come before us, including the use of NyQuil. It's not gonna fly here, okay? If you would like to serve the full amount of your jail time, just let me know now. Because if you come in here with one more random ridiculous excuse, that's what you're getting. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Make allocution.
Your Honor, I think certainly Mr. Gomez had a rocky start in his probation. I think all these violations are within the first month after his sentence or close to that. But I'm hearing that in recent, rather since this report was issued in the middle of February, he has been doing much better. Like Mr. Hanna is satisfied with his recent attendance and performance. And so I think he is going to do well going forward on probation.
We only had 1 month since then, so I'm not particularly impressed that he went 30 days after receiving essentially 3 violations. I recognize one was dismissed because he later reported. He did not report on the date that he was scheduled to report. And then the positive test, and then failing to appear on the next test, that's not gonna fly. He's gonna get a scram tether for 90 days. I'll continue his probation with scram tether. You can go in and check in with Mr. Hanna, and then you go get your tether. Do you have any questions for the court?
No, Your Honor.
Any additional matters for the record?
Nothing on behalf of the committee, Your Honor.
Your Honor.
We're all set, thank you.
Got a pretrial? Or somebody else?
Who? Someone else here?
My thing says,
I don't have anything else on my docket.
you're right. That's it.
Okay, sounds good.
That's it. I am on my way out here for the parking lot.
Another one?
Probably.
You did that. I think that's fine.
Okay, on the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Eli Collins, 25-00955 FY. Appearance, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Aaron Schroeder on behalf of Ms. Collins, who is present from the Lansing Police lockup.
Is it Ellie Collins?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Jim? Okay, thank you. Today was the date scheduled for an arraignment. I do have a felony complaint here. The allegations are that on or about March 30th, 2025 at the area of 500 East Edgewood Boulevard, that's in the city of Lansing, Ingham County, state of Michigan, that you allegedly committed the act and count 1, a police officer assaulting, resisting, obstructing. The allegations are that you did assault, batter, wound, resist, obstruct, oppose, or endanger a Sydney Farragar a police officer with the Lansing Police Department that the defendant knew or had reason to know was performing his or her duties contrary to Michigan Compiled Law 750.81 D1. Count one is a felony, and the maximum penalty is 2 years and or $2,000 in fines, and a consecutive sentence may be imposed under the law if the assault was committed in a place of confinement or under MCL 750.81 D6 for another violation arising from the same transaction. There's a count two of retail fraud second degree, alleging that on or about March 20th, 2025 at the area of 500 East Edgewood Boulevard, which I believe is also known as Target. This is at the Five Below. While at the Five Below, that was open to the public, did steal property of the store that was offered for a sale price at a price of $200 or more, but less than $1,000, and that this was contrary to Michigan Compiled Law 750.356 D. That's a misdemeanor. The maximum penalty is 1 year and or $2,000 in fines, or 3 times the value or difference in the price of the property stolen, obtained, or attempted to be stolen or obtained, whichever is greater. Court may order reimbursement to the state or local government for expenses incurred in relation to the incident, including but not limited to the expense of emergency response and prosecution. There's also count 3 retail fraud second degree, alleging that while on March 30th, 2025 at 500 East Edgewood Boulevard at the Target, while open to the public, that you did allegedly steal property of that store that was offered for a sale price of $200 or more, but less than $1,000, and that was contrary to MCL 750.5356 D. And that's a misdemeanor. Again, the maximum penalty is 1 year and or $2,000 in fines, or 3 times the value or difference of the property that was stolen, obtained, or attempted to be stolen or obtained, whichever is greater. Do you understand the maximum penalty, the charges in each, and the maximum penalty in each charge?
Yes, ma'am.
You have the right to be represented by an attorney. You're represented today by Ms. Schroeder from the Office of the Public Defender, but only for the purpose of your arraignment today. You have the right to have an attorney represent you at each appearance under this criminal prosecution, and the right to be represented by counsel if you're questioned by law enforcement. If you cannot afford to hire an attorney, one can be appointed to represent you at the expense of the public. So do you understand your right to counsel?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is she requesting the public defender's office to represent her, Ms. Schroeder?
She is, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Collins, you have the right to remain silent. Anything that you say and anything you put in writing can be used against you. You have the right to plead guilty, plead not guilty, or stand mute. And if you stand mute, this matter will continue all the way through to a jury trial. You are being charged with a felony in count 1, so you have the right to have a preliminary examination, and you have the right to have that within 21 days of today's date, unless you waive that 21 days or unless the court finds good cause to go beyond that timeline. At the time of your examination, you have the right to require the prosecution to put forth sufficient evidence to establish that they have probable cause that a crime or a felony was committed, and probable cause sufficient to charge you as the person who committed the felony. You understand your right as to a preliminary examination?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're currently scheduled for a preliminary examination before Judge Stacia Buchanan. It's going to be Thursday, April 17th at 2 p.m. You have a probable cause conference 1 week prior to that before Judge Buchanan. That's going to be on Friday, April 11th at 9:30. You should have received a notice to appear before Judge Buchanan, as well as a Zoom instructions. Is that accurate, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. You have the right to proceed to a trial. Again, you have the right to a jury trial. You have the right to the presumption of innocence. So you're innocent until proven guilty. You have the right to have the prosecution prove the element of the charge being brought against you beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to remain silent at any trial and not have that silence be used to prove or imply that you're guilty. You can waive your silence and testify at your trial if you like. You have the right to subpoena witnesses that would testify on your behalf or present evidence at trial that you believe show a defense to the charges being brought against you. Do you have any questions about any of those rights?
No, Your Honor.
You have the right to be considered for pretrial release from custody. We'll address your bond in just a moment. Are you currently employed?
No,
How do you support yourself?
I mean, I currently stay with my dad and he takes care of
What's your home address?
1801 West Lansing Road, Morris, Michigan, 48857.
What's your phone number?
517-749-5824.
Are you on probation or on parole?
I'm on probation.
You're on probation?
Yeah,
Before which court?
Ingham.
Before Ingham County?
Yeah.
Which court in Ingham County?
54B.
Have you ever missed court before?
Yes.
Counsel, you can address the court on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, I would be requesting a PR bond for Ms. Collins. She is currently under supervision by the court, and at the 54B, she has given us an address where she'd be residing with her father. She has limited means. She is from Michigan, and she has family and a child here. So I would ask the court to take those into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Unfortunately, she's not a candidate for a personal recognizance bond. I have a pre-trial services bond recommendation report. It says here that she has multiple failure to appear. She has a 2020 bench warrant failure to appear for an operating no license for 3 years, first offense. She has a bench warrant from 2024, controlled substance use of narcotic or cocaine failure to appear, and a bench warrant for a retail fraud. It says defendant has an active bench warrant out of 66 district court for failing to appear, and an active bench warrant out of 54B for failing to appear. She doesn't come to court, so she's definitely not getting a PR bond over here. The bond is set in the amount of 5,000 cash surety. While out on bond, she has the following conditions. She's not to travel outside the state without prior approval of the court. She's not to use, purchase, or possess drug or alcohol without a valid prescription. She is going to be required to participate in random urinalysis testing. She's not to use drugs and alcohol, not to possess a firearm or any other dangerous weapon. She's not to be at the area at or near 500 East Edgewood in Lansing. She's not to engage in any assaultive or threatening behavior. And she's not to pick up any future charges. Do you have any questions about your bond conditions, Ms. Collins? Any additional matters for the record, counsel?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
You're all set, ma'am.
His name on her TR. Her name listed as a victim. Michaela Wong.
She's going around this complaint. I don't know where that name comes from. On the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Michael Gramza of 25-00957. Appearance, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Aaron Schroeder on behalf of Mr. Gramza for purposes of his arraignment only. And Mr. Gramza is requesting the services of the Public Defender. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll note that. I'll enter a plea of not guilty on his behalf. Mr. Gramza, today was the date scheduled for an arraignment. I do have a felony complaint. It alleges that on or about March 30th, 2025, at the area at 500 East Edgewood Boulevard, Lansing, Michigan, 48911, that you engaged in count one allegedly in police officer assaulting, resisting, obstructing, and that you did assault, batter, wound, resist, obstruct, oppose, or endanger Sydney Faragher, a police officer with the Lansing Police Department, that the defendant knew or had reason to know was performing his or her duties contrary to MCL 750.81 D1. That's a felony. Maximum penalty is 2 years and or $2,000 in fines, and a consecutive sentence may be imposed under the law if the assault was committed in a place of confinement or another violation arising from the same transaction. There's a count two of retail fraud, second degree, alleging that while Five Below, which was open to the public, you did allegedly steal property of the store that was offered for a sale price of $200 or more, but less than $1,000, contrary to MCL 750.356D. That's a misdemeanor. Maximum penalty 1 year and or $2,000 or 3 times the value or difference in price of the property stolen, obtained, or attempted to be obtained, whichever is greater. There's also a count three of another retail fraud. This at 500 East Edgewood, but for the purposes of a Target that was open to the public, that you allegedly did steal property of that store that was offered to the sale for the sale at the price of $200 or more, but less than $1,000, contrary to MCL 750.356D. And that again is a misdemeanor, 1 year and or $2,000 in fines, or 3 times the value or difference in the property attempted to be obtained or stolen, whichever is greater, or 3 times the value. In order to impose 3 times the value, the defendant must admit the amount, where it must be determined by the trier of fact. The court may order reimbursement to the state or local government for expenses incurred in relation to the incident, including but not limited to the expenses for emergency response and prosecution. Did you understand, Mr. Grams, of the charges read in count 1 through 3 and the maximum penalty attached to each?
Yes, Your Honor.
You have the right to be represented by an attorney. Ms. Schroeder is representing you for the purposes of your arraignment. She has indicated to the court that you are requesting to have the public defender's office appointed at the expense of the public. And so the court has noted that, and as such has entered a plea of not guilty on your behalf. But you do have the right to plead guilty, plead not guilty, or stand mute. If you stand mute, the matter will continue all the way to a jury trial. You do have the right to have a preliminary examination as to count 1 because it is a felony. You have the right to have that preliminary examination within 21 days of the date that you're arraigned, unless you waive that timeline or the court finds good cause to go beyond that 21 days. You have the right to require the prosecutor establish sufficient probable cause that the felony was committed, and then probable cause sufficient to charge you as the person who committed the felony. If this matter proceeds beyond your preliminary examination, you have the right to continue to a jury trial, maintain your innocence, maintain silence and not have silence be used against you, or you can waive your silence and testify at your trial. You have the right to subpoena witnesses to give testimony or present evidence that you believe show a defense to the charge being brought against you, and the right to see, hear, and question in court any of the witnesses that the prosecutor calls. You are scheduled to have a preliminary examination, and I'm assuming this is a co-defendant case.
It is, Your Honor.
Okay, you are scheduled before Judge Buchanan for probable cause conference. It's going to be Friday, April 11th at 9:30 a.m. You have an examination that's going to be before Judge Buchanan Thursday, April 17th at 2 p.m. Did you get your notice to appear, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, do you have any questions for the court at this time?
I do not, Your Honor.
Are you employed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Where?
William Reichenbach Company out of Okemos, Michigan.
You said William what?
Reichenbach Company, Reichen-Bach.
What do you do there?
I'm a journeyman carpenter in the Lansing Jackson local.
What's your home address?
125 South Lincoln Street, Perry, Michigan, 48872.
Your phone number?
517-749-5824.
Are you currently on probation or on parole?
Oh, Your Honor.
Have you ever missed court in the past?
Oh, Your Honor.
Address bond counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Gramza, as he indicated to the court, is employed as a journeyman carpenter with the William Reichenbach Company. He's been there 6 years, he indicated to me. He is originally from Perry, which is the address that he gave the court a moment ago, where he'd be living with his father. He has a family here. He does acknowledge he does have some prior criminal record. He indicates he has no failures to appear. I do realize there was a bond report and there was an indication potentially in there, but he states that he does not have any failures to appear. He has a lot of reasons to make sure he shows up for court. He doesn't want to mess up his job. He doesn't want to mess up where he's living. I'd ask the court to consider him for a PR bond or a low 10%. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have a bond report. It does indicate here that there's a concern about the protection of the public under MCL 765.6 and MCR 6.106F. It says there is some record of non-appearance at court proceedings or flight to avoid prosecution. It says the people are requesting GPS tether, no personal recognizance bond, and a reasonable money bail to be issued. It states that the defendant ran from multiple officers and then fought them, trying to disarm one of their taser. He also grabbed a knife before initially running from officers, and he refused to put it down. 2 officers sustained injuries from the defendant. And it again lists the co-defendant as Eli Collins. Bond in this matter is set at $5,000 cash surety with GPS tether. It is acting for a no contact order. I believe that's probably individuals from the target and or from the Five Below. I don't know that that's meaningful. Let me see what's happening.
Oh,
Okay, yeah, the no contact order that they're seeking is actually for individuals at the target and the Five Below, but there will be a no he's not to be within 500 feet of wherever the, of 500 East Edgewood, that is. During the pendency of this matter, there will be GPS tether ordered. You're not to engage in any assaultive or threatening behavior. You're not to purchase or possess a firearm, ammunition, or weapon of any kind. You're not to use, purchase, or possess alcohol or drugs unless you have a valid prescription. You're not to travel outside the state without prior approval of the court. Does he have a warrant? In Eaton County. There is some indication here that he has a warrant, it looks like out of, I don't know if this is his. This might not be his, let's see.
I don't believe that's mine, Your Honor.
You don't even know what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I just
Okay,
don't-
stop
I-
talking, sir.
What am I reviewing?
Sorry, Your Honor. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Thank you. But you are correct. Someone put your co-defendant's CCH under yours. That's her warrants. Okay. We're all set for today. Any additional matters for the record?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
You're all set.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. On the record in the matter of the state of Michigan versus Nehemiah or Nehemiah, I guess, Eckles, 25-00912.
Thank you, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Aaron Schroeder on behalf of Mr. Eckles.
Mr. Eckles, state your first name for it.
Nehemiah Eckles.
Nehemiah Eckles. Okay. Mr. Eckles, today was the date scheduled for an arraignment. I have a felony complaint here. It alleges that on or about March 23rd, 2025 at 2742 Stone Way, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan, that you did allegedly commit the act in count 1 of assault with a dangerous weapon, also known as felonious assault. It said you did make an assault or assault and battery upon a Mary Elizabeth Haley with a dangerous weapon, that being a firearm, but without intending to commit the crime of murder or to inflict great bodily harm less than crime of murder. And this is contrary to MCL 750.82. The count 1 is a felony with a maximum penalty of 4 years and or $2,000 in fines. Your DNA is to be taken upon arrest, and a consecutive sentence may be imposed under the law if the assault was committed in a place of confinement. Count 2, weapons, felony firearm, second offense, alleges that on or about March 23rd, 2025 at 2742 Stone Lake, Lansing, Michigan 48910, that you did carry or have in your person or possession a firearm, that being a small firearm at the time that you committed or attempted to commit the felony of felonious assault or assault with a dangerous weapon, contrary to MCL 750.227B. Here's a second offense notice. It says, although the people are not required to notify the court or defendant of prior convictions that may result in enhanced sentence, we are voluntarily informing the court that according to our current information, the defendant was previously convicted of violating Michigan Compiled Law 750.227B on or about November 14th, 2017. And therefore, upon conviction, may be subject to an enhanced sentence under MCL 750.227B. That enhances your count 2 to a felony maximum penalty 5 years consecutively with and preceding any term of imprisonment imposed for the felony or attempted felony conviction, and a mandatory forfeiture of the weapon or devices required under the law. There's a count 3, domestic violence, alleging that on or about March 23rd, 2025 at the area of 2742 Stone Lake, Lansing, Michigan, that you did make an assault or assault and battery upon a Mary Elizabeth Haley an individual with whom you had a dating relationship, and that this is contrary to Michigan Compile Law 750.812. A restitution may be ordered as this offense may have resulted in damage to another individual's property or physical injury or death to another individual. This is a misdemeanor. The maximum penalty is 93 days in jail or $500 in fines, and a consecutive sentence may be imposed under the law if the assault was committed in a place of confinement. However, there's a habitual offender fourth offense notice. It says, take notice that the defendant was previously convicted of 3 or more felonies or attempts to commit felonies, and that on or about November 14, 2017. He was convicted of the offense of home invasion first degree in violation of Michigan Compile Law 750.11082 in the 8th District Court for Kalamazoo County in the state of Michigan. And that on or about November 14, 2017, he was convicted of the offense of felony firearm in violation of MCL 750.227B-A in the 8th District Court for Kalamazoo County in the state of Michigan. And that on or about October 11, 2010, he was convicted of the offense of child abuse second degree in violation of MCL 750.136B3 in the Ninth Circuit Court for the County of Kalamazoo in the state of Michigan, and therefore is subject to the penalties provided by MCL 769.12 that enhances the maximum penalty to life if the primary offense has a penalty of 5 years or more, or the maximum penalty to 15 years or less if the primary offense has a penalty under 5 years. The maximum penalty cannot be less than the maximum term of the conviction. Of the first conviction, do you understand the charges that were read, the maximum penalty, the second offense notice, and then now the habitual offender fourth offense notice?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you have the right to be represented by counsel. Ms. Schroeder is going to represent you for the purposes of today's arraignment. But you have the right to have an attorney represent you at all of your court appearances. You have the right to be represented by an attorney if you're questioned by law enforcement. If you cannot afford to have an attorney represent you, or to hire an attorney to represent you, that is, you can make a request to have the public defender's office represent you at the expense of the public. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything that you say and anything you put in writing can and will be used against you. You have the right to plead guilty, plead not guilty, or stand mute. And if you stand mute, the matter will continue all the way to a trial, and that will be a jury trial. You have the right to have a preliminary examination because you're being charged with felonies, and you have the right to have that exam within 21 days of today's date, unless you waive that timeline or the court finds a good cause to go beyond that timeline. At the time of your exam, you have the right to require the prosecutor establish sufficient probable cause that a crime was committed and probable cause sufficient to charge you with the crime. You have the right, if this matter proceeds to trial, to the presumption of innocence, so you're innocent until proven guilty, and you have the right to require the prosecutor prove your guilt by proving each element of the charges being brought against you beyond a reasonable doubt. You can remain silent at trial and they can't use the silence against you, or you can waive your silence and testify at your trial. You also have the right to subpoena witnesses that can testify on your behalf, and the right to see, hear, and question any other witnesses called to testify against you. Do you understand each of those rights at this time?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Is he requesting the public defender's office?
He is, Your Honor. Thank you.
The court will note that you are making a request for court-appointed counsel and will enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf. Are you currently employed?
No, right now. Not right now.
What does that mean? Are you looking for a job, or you just lost your job? What is that? How do you support yourself?
To be honest, I do a paying job with this guy, and he just, from time to time, he just, paid me to when I could do the job. So I don't call it a job. It's just something to do on the side. Until I can find a job I can work Monday through Friday.
What's your home address?
2742 Stoneley Drive.
Well, you can't live there because that's where the victim lives. So where are you gonna live?
I have a couple of friends down here that I can stay with.
You don't have an address. But you
Uh,
can stay.
yeah, I have an address. I just don't know it by heart, and I think I know it, but I don't want to just say it and accidentally be wrong. But I think it's 214 Smith Street.
Are you on probation or on parole?
No,
What's your phone number?
269-599-0153.
Currently scheduled for probable cause conference before Judge Cynthia Ward, April 10th at 9:30 in the morning. You have a preliminary examination before Judge Ward, April 17th, 9:30 in the morning, in person at the court. Did you receive a notice to appear?
Yes.
Okay. You can address bond counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Eckles does have family that he'd be staying with. He has a lot of family in the area and friends. He also has 3 children. I would ask the court to consider him for a 10% bond or some type of low cash surety at this time. Thank you.
I'm glad you have the defendant's prior criminal history. This case or this file did not accompany a pretrial or a bond recommendation from the prosecution's office. However, I obviously have the affidavit of probable cause, and there's some very concerning allegations here. Allegations of a dating relationship in which there are shared children in common, and that there was an argument on or about the 23rd of March, and that argument led to the defendant allegedly pulling a firearm on the alleged victim and threatening her over owed rent money, and something to the effect of her taking his phone, and her concern for her safety, I believe, was communicated to law enforcement. And then We all obviously have this matter charged with both an habitual offender, I'm sorry, sex and offense notice, and then an habitual offender fourth offense notice. So the court has some increasing concerns for the safety of the public and for the safety of the victim. I don't see anything in my file that would indicate one way or the other if he has failed to appear in court in the past. However, I do have in his criminal history what appears to be multiple matters that he had been placed on supervision before the court, and that on more than one occasion, that supervision had to be revoked and he had to be sentenced to jail time. So personal recognizance bond will not be granted. Bond in this matter will be set at 7,000 cash surety with GPS tether. There's a no contact order in place for the protection of the alleged victim, Mary Haley. You're not to be within 1,500 feet of wherever she is. You're not to be at her home address. You're not to be at the address of 2742 Stone Lane or within 1,500 feet of 2742 Stone Lane. You're not to possess a firearm, weapon, ammunition, or any other dangerous weapon. You're not to travel out the state without prior approval of the court. You must provide a valid address before you are released from custody. As to where you will reside, a GPS tether again is ordered with victim notification if possible. Not to use or possess any drug or alcohol without a valid prescription, and you need to report to pretrial services within 48 hours of your release. While in the custody of the jail, I will advise you or remind you that the calls are recorded. It would not be in your best interest to make any attempts to make contact directly or indirectly with Mary Haley for any purpose at all. Do you have any questions about your bond conditions?
No, ma'am.
Any additional matters for the record?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. You can give me those other two other files because I need to put reporting on there too. I gotta report to pretrial services. The record in the matter or matters of the people of the state of Michigan versus Dearan Adams. File number is 25-00450FY, 25-00451FY, 21L2635251OI, 23L280908182, and then 24-0L2889811OI. Council appearance.
Thank you, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Aaron Schroeder on behalf of Mr. Adams for purposes of his arraignment only on these matters. Mr. Adams has indicated that he has retained Attorney Vincent Green on the matters here, and it does appear from looking online that Attorney Green has put his appearance in as to the felony matter that is pending. Thank you.
They said they put it in the file. I see it today, I guess. Okay, so you're representing him for the purposes of the arraignment only?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay, let's start with 25-00450. I have a felony complaint in this file. Wait a minute, are these the same exact files? Well, he's charged with the same exact charges in both files. Let's see. So in file number ending in 450. Oh, boy. They see how they got that screwed up there. I think they put the wrong file and wrong thing. This says 450. This says 245. I think it's switched around. I'm gonna give this to you to fix this while I call the next person. I think that, who made the file, criminal? Yes, I think they screwed it up. CTN 451 should be in this one. And this one should be in this one. I'm gonna have to call him in just a moment. You can take a seat. So you know what I'm talking about here. Please go on and check and confirm with them. This is file number 451. 450. I think they mix the file up.
They sent one down there saying.
How about Devonte Smith?
Elizabeth, somebody.
Elizabeth who?
She didn't tell me the last name. She told me the first name. I knew we didn't have an Elizabeth.
She's scheduled for what? Arraignment?
Arraignment.
There was a bunch of people who were scheduled for arraignment this afternoon.
That they added.
No, there was pre-scheduled. So I think that's probably,
She's outside. I'll go grab her.
I think that's what's probably going on. I can only assume. Okay, on the record now in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Devonte Smith, 25-00956.
How you doing, Ron?
I'm well, how are you?
I'm all right.
Oh, okay, Mr. Smith, I have here a misdemeanor complaint that alleges that on or about March 30th, 2025 at 111 East Oakland Ave, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan, you allegedly committed the act in count one of breaking and entering illegal entry without owner's permission, that you did enter without breaking a certain building or structure, to wit, that being a residence located at 111 East Oakland, whether occupied or unoccupied, without first obtaining permission to enter from the owner or occupant, agent, or person having immediate control thereof, contrary to MCL 750.115. That's a misdemeanor, maximum penalty 90 days and or $500 in fines. Ms. Schroeder, can I have your appearance for the record?
Thank you, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Aaron Schroeder on behalf of Mr. Smith for purposes of his arraignment. Mr. Smith is requesting the services of the Public Defender, so we'd ask that he not guilty be entered on his behalf. Thank you.
Not guilty will be entered on his behalf. Mr. Smith, did you understand the charge that I read in the maximum penalty?
Oh, man.
You said no?
My address is at that house, so I don't understand.
Okay.
That you having a
Stop.
injury at my house.
Stop.
My question, so I can clarify what my question was. My question was not, did you understand why you were charged? I'm asking, do you understand the actual charge, which was the substance of it? Not whether or not the charge is valid or if you understood why they charged you with that. That's what I'm asking, do you understand the charge?
Excuse me, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, I do understand it.
Okay, and you understand the maximum penalty?
Yeah.
Okay, and so you have the right to remain silent. Anything that you say, anything you put in writing can be used against you. You have the right to plead guilty, plead not guilty, or stand mute. If you stand mute, the matter will continue all the way to a jury trial. And you have the right to be presumed innocent. You are innocent until proven guilty, sir. So you have the right to maintain your innocence and require the prosecution prove your guilt by proving each element of the charge being brought against you beyond a reasonable doubt. You can proceed to your trial and maintain your silence, not have that silence be used against you. You can cross-examine or question any other witnesses that the prosecution calls to testify against you. You also have the right to subpoena witnesses to testify on your behalf or waive your silence and testify on your own behalf and present evidence that you believe show a defense to the charge being brought against you. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
I've already entered a not guilty plea on your behalf. You're currently scheduled for pre-trial conference before Judge Cynthia Ward. It's going to be on April 22nd at 10:30 in the morning, and you should have received a notice to appear and Zoom instructions for a courtroom. Did you get that, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are you currently employed?
Yes, ma'am.
Where?
I work at Cotton Live LLC. I'm a healthcare provider for the elderly and handicapped people.
What's your home address?
111 East Oakland.
He did provide me with an alternate address, Your Honor.
Oh, no, I asked him a question. He thinks are you on bond on another matter, sir?
Yes.
What's the nature of the other charge?
It was, I was controlled substance.
Is there no contact order preventing you from being able to go to 111 Oakland?
Oh, ma'am, it was a prior charge from about 4 months ago that got resolved about 2 months ago, and I've been living with the mother of my child since.
From February?
Yep, February.
That's what I see here. I'm looking at his criminal history. I see a domestic violence that was closed in February 3rd. I don't see anything open. I don't see a conditional order in place for 54B. Who has a conditional order for 54B?
Can I say something, Your Honor?
Not at this time. It's not in your best interest.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's see. Oh, wait a minute. Let me see. Okay, have a seat. I need somebody to find out what conditional release they're talking about. It probably was supposed to be removed. It may have supposed to be removed from lien. Something separate. I just don't. I did not. I didn't. I said I would do. They didn't tell me that until after so. For the. Back on the record in the matter of Devonte Smith.
That's for a gentleman requesting an extension.
Okay, I stepped off the bench. I reviewed the defendant's criminal history because again, I didn't see anything pending in any other court that would, well, pending in general, but specifically nothing pending that would present a no contact order. In addition to that, I made a call to 54B. They don't have anything but a parking ticket that's pending over there. So I don't know what this PA 53 no contact is. The only thing I seen that would have presented a no contact order would have been dismissed on February 3rd. The allegations of this is from March 30th, so grossly outside of the time frame. In addition to that, I do believe that there was one other concern, at least in our criminal clerks, that has Miss Leland, Taylor Leland, listed as the victim, but our records reflected her as the aggressor. So nonetheless, I don't believe that this is actually meaningful. We don't have a prosecutor here to address that issue. I've advised him of his right to counsel and of his rights to proceed to a trial in this matter. I'm going to release him on his own recognizance. I will make sure this matter gets addressed by the prosecutor's office because it does not sound like it's meaningfully supported by evidence, is what it sounds like to me. Ms. Schroeder, any additional matters for the record?
What would the amount of the PR bond be, Your Honor?
A $500 personal recognizance, no other conditions, but it would be advised for you, sir, that you would stay out of harm's way and until this matter is resolved, you would want to maybe follow up to make sure it is resolved. Otherwise, you're not to be at the address of 111 Oakland. So I'm going to get off the bench now to make sure this is taken care of so that you can return to your home peacefully if that's what needs to happen. But I don't have anything in our file that shows me that there was a no contact order in any other files. I don't have anything else pending for him at all. So you're free to go, sir.
Okay.
Okay, I need, who was the prosecutor who authorized this actually? Yeah, if we can get any prosecutor to look into this because I should be able to return home without a problem. Is Billabay still here?
I'm sorry.
Can we see if Mr. Billabay is, if there's a prosecutor in any other courtroom today?
Yes, I will check.
Thank you. And where's the other files that were messed up? Oh, I forgot. That's Demarion. Did we get those files back? Thank you. Okay, back on the record in the matter of Demarion Adams. Okay, I think the files have been corrected for you, Mr. Adams. Again, you have the same charges in both. So in order to not have to read the same things twice, I'm going to try to do them in tandem. Counsel appearance, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Aaron Schroeder on behalf of Mr. Adams, purposes of his arraignment only. Mr. Adams has indicated to me he's declining the public defender at this time. He has retained Attorney Vincent Green on these files. Thank you.
Okay, sounds good. And file number ending in 450. I have a felony complaint that alleges count 1, financial transaction device possession on or about November 23rd, 2024 at 6200 South Pennsylvania Avenue, Lansing, Michigan. Count 2, financial transaction device, illegal sale use on or about November 23rd, 2024, 6200 South Pennsylvania Avenue, Lansing, Michigan, and there's an habitual offender third offense notice. And file number ending in 451. I have count one again, financial transaction device possession, but this one at the area of 921 West Home Street, Lansing, Michigan, on or about October 11th, 2024. And then I have financial transaction device illegal sale or use in count two on or about October 11th, 2024, again at 921 West Home Street, Lansing, Michigan, 48910. Count one in both would allege that you did possess or have under your control or receive from another person a financial transaction device used in one file by Michigan State University Credit Union account holder Kenneth Crouch, and the other file used by Capital One Bank account holder Carolyn Parks, with the intent to use, deliver, circulate, or sell the same or do or to permit, cause, or procure the same to be used, delivered, circulated, or sold, knowing such possession, control, or receipt to be without consent of the device holder. Count two in both would allege that you did use a financial transaction device, knowing the device to have been obtained or held under circumstances prescribed under MCL 750.157P, contrary to MCL 750.157Q. Both counts one and two in both files have a maximum penalty in each felony, 4 years and or $5,000. Both have an habitual offender third offense notice. Says take notice that the defendant was twice convicted of a felony or attempt to commit a felony in that on or about November 1st, 2018. He was convicted of the offense of carrying a concealed weapon in violation of MCL 750.227 in the 30th Circuit Court for Ingham County, State of Michigan, in that on or about October 17, 2022. He was convicted of the offense of firearms possession by felon and contrary to MCL 750.227F in the 30th Circuit Court for Ingham County, and therefore the defendant is subject to enhanced penalties provided by MCL 769.11 that makes the penalty in each file twice the maximum sentence on the primary offense or a lesser term than the maximum penalty cannot be less than the maximum term of the first conviction. Do you understand the charges read in both files and the maximum penalties attached in both?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, off the record. One. Thank you. Okay, back on the record. Do you have any questions about the charges that were read, sir?
No, ma'am.
Okay, you have the right to be represented by counsel, and I recognize that you've retained Vince Green to represent you. He's not present today for your arraignment, so Ms. Schroeder is representing you for the purposes of your arraignment. You have the right to have an attorney represent you at all of your court appearances, and if you are to be questioned by law enforcement. If you can't afford to hire an attorney, you can then return to make and request a public defender to be represented at the expense of the public, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you have the right to a preliminary examination within 21 days of today's date unless you waive that 21 days or unless the court goes beyond the 21 days for good cause. You're currently scheduled for probable cause conference before me, Judge Kristen Simmons, April 11th at 8:30. You have a preliminary examination before me in person at the court, April 17th at 8:30. You should have received the notice to appear. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you have the right to have your preliminary examination and to require the prosecutor establish that they have sufficient probable cause that a crime was committed and then probable cause sufficient to charge you as the person who committed the crime. You have the right to proceed to jury trial in each of these files and maintain your innocence and not have that innocence be waived until you are proven guilty by having the prosecutor prove each element of the charges in each file beyond a reasonable doubt. You can remain silent at both trials and not have silence used against you, waive silence and testify and present evidence that you believe show a defense to these charges. You also have the right to subpoena witnesses to testify on your behalf and your right to question and cross-examine any of the prosecution's witnesses. Do you have any questions about those rights?
No.
Are you currently employed?
Yes.
Where?
Clerical. It's in Warren, Michigan.
What's it called?
Clerical, UNICOTE.
Where do you live?
In East Point, Michigan.
What's your address?
15161 Springer Avenue, East Point, Michigan.
Okay, give me your address again. 1516 what?
1 Springer Avenue.
It's my fault, I need
SPR.
to spell it. Thank you. SPR.
NGER Avenue.
That's in East Point.
Yes, ma'am.
What's your phone number?
586-944-9496.
Are you on probation or on parole?
Well,
You have other court matters pending at this time?
yes.
How many matters do you have pending at this time? Excuse me?
No, it's like 4 or 5 of the same financial transaction devices.
Yeah, I see a lot of things bound over to the circuit court right now. I see a matter with the alleged date. Well, let's see, 23-03304 in the circuit court. But you have multiple counts. Looks like there's 3 counts there. No, 1 count there. There's another matter bound over to the circuit court where you have 3 counts, 1, 2, 3, and another matter bound over to the circuit court. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 counts. And another matter bound over to the circuit court. Well, actually, this is 55th district. Was this bound over? It was bound over to the circuit court. And it looks like you have 5 counts in that as well. And also here, people of the city of Lansing versus Demarion LaShawn Adams. And this is file number 24L2889811. You owe $324. And then I have people of the city of Lansing versus Adams, 23L2809082. You owe $186. 23L2809-081, you owe $186. 21L2635251, you owe $192. Council, you can address bond.
Okay, I know what that is.
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. At this time, I'd ask for some type of a 10% or cash surety, given the fact that he does have other files. However, I would note that he is employed. His past history is, my understanding is, they're all financial transaction, non-violent in nature, and he has retained Vincent Green on these files. Thank you.
You owe $888 in fines. Are you paying that today?
Yeah, I guess if that's the only way to get home, yes.
We're not talking about your bond. You got to pay those because you owe those.
I know.
Are you paying those today, sir?
Probably, I'm not sure. I can't tell you right now. I haven't talked to anybody, so I can't tell you.
You haven't talked to anybody? I don't know what that means. You mean someone
How
else is
am I
gonna pay it for you, or?
I'm saying, how am I supposed to pay if I don't have my wallet or no money on me?
Okay, you have the ability to pay this today financially?
No,
Okay,
but I don't, but I'll get it in order.
okay. Financial transaction device, he's got multiple matters pending, similar to these. These are from, I believe, October, yeah, and November of 2024. So I don't believe any of these would have presented a violation of his bond conditions, but I could be wrong. Let's see here. I guess it's possible. These were bound over in April. Okay, that was bound over in April. Okay, so these would potentially be violations of bond conditions because the date and time alleged would be while he was out bond on the other matter, Ms. Schroeder. I do have a bond recommendation. Says here that there's a concern about the protection of the public. Under MCL 765.6, the defendant was currently on parole, probation, or had other pending criminal charges. It says the defendant has a record of non-appearance in court or flight to avoid prosecution. It says the defendant is on bond and was at the time of the allegations in the 30th Circuit Court with Judge Jamo in the following cases: 24-0 399FH, 24-400, 24-370, 24-398. Despite being on bond and having been ordered to various conditions, defendant continues to ignore the orders of the court and the law. Based on the continual criminal behavior, the defendant's current open cases, some of which are the exact same nature as the above captioned case, the people are requesting the court to set bond in the amount of $75,000 cash surety with GPS tether and a curfew. They're requesting the following conditions: defendant be ordered not to be in the presence of any of the residents of the alleged victims, Caroline Parks and or area parks. And the defendant be ordered not to have contact directly or indirectly with the Caroline Parks and area parks victims in the other matter being Kenneth Crouch. And the defendant be ordered not to engage in any assaultive or threatening behavior, not to use alcohol and the other standard conditions. And now hearing that bond recommendation, did you want to respond, Ms. Schroeder?
Your Honor, I would ask the court, because this is a nonviolent, both of these files are nonviolent offenses, I would ask the court to not follow the 75,000 cash surety request and go for it and institute a lower cash surety bond. Thank you.
Thank you. I have here where this defendant owes about $1,000 to this court alone, and just failed to respond or take responsibility, failed to appear. He was actually on bench warrant for all of those files. And then his criminal history, which extends back to 2018. Is largely all cases that are currently bound over for transaction, illegal use or sale. Almost every single charge is the same thing. And I recognize that physical violence may not be in play here, but at some point, if someone has 15 to 20 pending charges of the same exact action against fraudulently, allegedly using other people's money, that is violence. In a time where we're dealing with all kinds of economic turmoil, people don't need their bank accounts tampered with or their bank accounts being used as evidence because of allegations of fraudulent activity. And we don't have 4 cases here or 4 charges. I have about 20 pending against this same person. He's a threat to society because there's way too many cases following his name. I think a high cash surety bond is appropriate because that's the only way it seems that we won't get any new cases of alleged fraud on somebody's bank account. So with that being said, bond ending in 40450 will be set at 25,000 cash surety with GPS tether. And there will be a curfew. Excuse me? You got something to say? Because we can also get into some contempt.
For what?
Because you're not going to disrupt me while I'm talking about your bond conditions. You can stand and face the court while we address your bond, or I can remand you and we can finish this at a time where it's more appropriate. 25,000 cash surety. There'll be a no contact order for the alleged victims in each file. And file number ending in 451. Bond is set at 50,000 cash surety with GPS tether. And a curfew. A defendant can provide his work hours to pretrial services and to craft a curfew appropriate to allow him to engage in employment. Otherwise, he'll be on house arrest at his home. While out, there's GPS tether. He's not to engage in any assaultive or threatening behavior, not to possess a firearm or any other dangerous weapon, not to use drugs or alcohol, and he cannot travel out the state without prior approval of the court. Any additional matters for the record?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
You're all set. Did you figure that out, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Was that the last one for the in custodies?
Yes.
All right, then. Thank you very much.
Mr. Milks, are you handling the scheduled walk-in arraignments?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
Your Honor, usually we find that information on JAS. It's now opening for me, but I can go to the office and.
Oh, that's completely fine. You can do that if you want to go back to your office and confirm.
Yes.
Yeah, because I had our criminal clerk call the criminal clerk at 54B, and they both said that there was nothing pending. In his criminal
Okay.
history says there's nothing pending.
Let me go to the office, Your Honor, and then I will check JAS. I always have a problem with it working here for some reason.
Probably because of the Wi-Fi, but that makes sense. Okay, thank you.
Sorry about that, Your Honor.
Is the Jared Adcock here?
Yes.
Okay, let's see.
Should I just email you or add you, Your Honor?
Yeah, you can email my court staff, and once you figure out what's going on,
Okay.
CC me, that's fine.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. This is City of Lansing versus Jared Adcock, 23-00771. What's going on with this? Let's see here. Yeah, you can come forward. So I didn't say I was just doing all of the walk-ins. What's going on? He just wants a.
He just wants an
waiver?
extension.
Okay, so you just want an extension, sir?
Yes, please.
When can you pay?
What can I pay?
When can you pay?
Oh, I just got a job. I started this last Thursday, so it's gonna be 2 weeks before I get a paycheck.
Okay, you have till May 30th. You're all set.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Nealing, how are you? You had walk-ins, is that what's going on?
Yeah, I only got 2 here that I know of.
Who?
It sounded like Abby said you might have one in your Zoom room.
Mr. Milks is here with someone maybe, I don't know.
Well, that Bramlett that she told me, his is.
Bramlett is here, okay.
Yeah,
Bramlett,
that's
can you
just-
please start your video?
Yeah.
These are just tickets, okay,
Yeah, that he was playing.
okay. Ulysses Bramlett,
He's been struggling with his video. I don't know if it's a bandwidth thing or something.
Yes, I'm here. Can you
There
hear
he
me?
is.
I can hear you.
I have no video, but yes, I'm here, ma'am.
What's the matter with your video?
I don't know. It says start. Okay. I'm not sure. It'll give me voice one day, then I switch
I
over
can
to
see-
the video, and then I won't have
can-
voice.
I can see you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Okay. City of Lansing versus Ulysses Bramlett. I have multiple files here. File ending in 311, you owe $180. File ending in 312, you owe $174. And then file ending in 401, let's see, you owe $186. And so they're all in warrant status for failure to pay. When are you paying these, sir?
Ma'am, I'm recently just working 25 hours a week. I'm at rent. It's like $850 a month. I'm really struggling right now. I've been in the process of trying to find something that I can levitate in nighttime, like a third shift or something like that. But it's been difficult finding a job in that particular, excuse me, time frame.
Where do you work, sir?
I work for Aunt Millie Bakery.
Okay, well, you've owed some of these debts for over 2 years.
Yes, yes, ma'am. I have been in a bad way. Yes, ma'am. No doubt about it. I make no excuse for that other than bad luck and, yeah.
You gotta get on a payment plan. I don't care if it's $5 a month. You gotta pay something.
Yes, ma'am. No,
You can't just keep blowing off your debts because you had it for 2 years.
right.
When are you gonna make a payment?
Could I get on a low payment? I don't know, maybe every month?
When can you make your first payment, I should say?
Let's see. I can actually make let's say about a $20 payment Friday.
Here that
if I could get that,
note here, sir, that you'll pay $10, no later than this coming Friday, which is gonna be the 4th, and that you'll pay $10 per month, okay?
Your Honor?
okay.
Yes.
I'm very, very sorry. Are we streaming on YouTube right now?
Yes.
Is there any chance we could pause it briefly just to bring up something mildly sensitive for the court?
As it relates to Mr. Bramlett's
Yes.
payment arrangement,
Yeah, I know, as
Are you-
odd as that is, yes, Your Honor.
you're appearing on his behalf. I didn't know that your office appeared on payment.
We don't, Your Honor. Your Honor, currently, Mr. Bramlett has COVID. I don't know if it's wise for him to come in Friday in person, if he's still sick at that point. I don't know where he's at in this. That's.
I don't either. You must be familiar with Mr. Bramlett. He shouldn't come up here if he's not feeling well. He can make a payment online, or we can give him an extension. Mr. Bramlett, are you under the weather?
Yes. If I can get an extension, yes, I can come up there myself.
Okay. We'll note here that you'll make a payment no less or no later than April 30th, okay?
Okay.
$10 per month, sir,
Okay.
on the 30th of each month.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
No. That's good
You're all
enough for
set.
me.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll pay more if I can.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Does he also have to be arraigned on the, I think there's an expired plate?
I don't think they gave me an expired plate. Let's see. They gave me 3 files. It was a speeding, expired plate, and then another expired plate, but they all had a balance on there.
Oh,
He had judgments on all of them, so there wasn't a new one.
oh. Okay.
You're all set, sir.
Okay, shall I go now?
Yep, you are free to go.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Was I supposed to have a file for this lady? Yes. Thank you. Okay, on the record in the matters of the people of the city of Lansing versus Emily Householder. I have file number 21-02586. And then interesting things are happening here. They have city of Lansing on one side of the file. This has to be state of Michigan on the other side of the file. Interesting things are happening. 24-02736 and then T02107319. Council appearance.
Yeah, one's a felony. I don't know if that needs to be.
I mean, yeah. Council appearance.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Stephen Milks on behalf of Ms. Householder from the
Okay,
public.
thank you. She's present in the courtroom. You can see him, correct? Okay. Okay, so I have here a felony complaint that alleges that on or about the time frame of October 1st, 2023 through January 5th, 2024 at the area of 2829 South Martin Luther King Boulevard, which is in the city of Lansing, Ingham County, state of Michigan, that you allegedly committed the act in count 1 of embezzlement, agent or trustee, 1,000 or more, but less than 20,000, and that you did, being an agent or servant of the employee of chef or chief cart, convert to your own use without the consent of your principal, checks, money, or other personal property of your principal having the value of $1,000 or more, but less than $20,000 that came into the defendant's possession or under the defendant's charge or control by virtue of her relationship with the principal, contrary to Michigan Compiled Law 750.1744A. As a felony, the maximum penalty is 5 years in prison and or $10,000 in fines, or 3 times the amount embezzled, whichever is greater. You understand the charge there and the maximum penalty?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, in that matter, you have the right to be represented by counsel. Mr. Milks is representing you today for your arraignment. You have the right to be represented by an attorney at all of your court appearances, and the right to be represented if you're questioned by law enforcement. And if you can't afford to hire an attorney, you can make a request to have the public defender's office appointed at the expense of the public. You understand that, right? You have the right to have a preliminary examination in this matter, and you have the right to have that within 21 days of today's date, unless you waive that 21-day timeline or the court finds good cause to go beyond that 21-day timeline. You're currently scheduled for a probable cause conference before Judge Stacia Buchanan on Friday, April 11th at 9 a.m. You have a preliminary examination in person at the court before Judge Buchanan, Friday, April 17th at 2. And that would be your notice to appear there, okay? If you proceed with your preliminary examination, you have the right to require that the prosecutor establish sufficient probable cause that a crime was committed and probable cause sufficient to charge you as the person who committed the crime. If this matter continues to trial, you then enjoy the presumption of innocence and the right to maintain your innocence and require the prosecutor to prove each element of the charges being brought against you beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to remain silent at trial and not have that be used against you. You can subpoena witnesses that will testify on your behalf if you like, and you can waive your silence and testify on your own behalf and present evidence that you believe show a defense to the charge being brought against you. And you have the right to see, hear, and question in court any of the witnesses the prosecutor intends to call to testify against you. Do you have any questions about those rights?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. She's requesting the public defense office to represent her for this.
Your Honor, I haven't had a chance to speak with her.
Oh, oh,
This was somebody Nick just walked in.
got it. So she did not. Okay, did you want to make a request for the public defender's office?
I do.
Okay, so I'll note that and then we'll get you into a private meeting room with Mr. Mills.
Okay.
Mr. Mills, I got thrown into this today. I don't know how you guys signed up, but I just was trying to help out because we had an emergency. So they're bringing people in here from all over the place. I don't know where they're coming from.
All right.
Okay, and the files are a little confused. So this felony file has a parking ticket in it, and I don't know why. I'm gonna enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf. You'll meet with Mr. Milks. Your bond in this matter is gonna be set at 500 personal recognizance. What's your home address?
8712 Wintergreen Street.
That's in Lansing?
Lansing 48917. I did already bond on the issue as well.
Did you?
Yes,
When you walked in?
No, they arrested me. They
Oh, I see that. You have a cash bond, $300. Okay, let's go with that. We'll keep that there. 300 cash. You didn't walk in today, then?
No.
Already posted. You're employed?
I am.
Where is that?
General Motors,
And your phone number?
517-862-7643.
Okay, and if there is a parking here, it says you owe $90.
Okay. Probably. I used to work at QP's. Worst place to work for parking.
Let's see what the address is. Yep, looks like 300 Washington Ave.
Yeah.
Here's if you pay the original fine of $50, I'll waive the penalty. Can you
Okay.
pay that today?
I can.
I have another fine. Okay, that's the city matter. Looks like you failed to appear before Flores for a no ops. And so the matter is now scheduled for pre-trial before Judge Flores. He's one courtroom over, or of course you can appear via Zoom on the 12th of May at 9:30 in the morning.
Okay.
Did they give you a notice for that?
I did not. Didn't notice for that.
I don't think they gave you one for you. Let me double check. So if there's papers everywhere on here. They did not. We'll print you a notice for your next court date on that file. You had a number of failure to appears on that. I don't know if you've gotten your license, but you should hopefully work to get that together.
Yeah, I have to take care of that to get it back. I haven't been driving.
Yeah, but we want you to have a license.
Yeah, me
So,
too.
okay, so if you can work on getting
Yeah.
that, I'm sure Judge Flores will give you an extension if you're working on it.
Okay. Thank you.
Bond in that matter will be reinstated. You paid on a bond on that?
Yeah, I paid on
That's
this
what
one
I
as well.
see. Let's see here. 100 cash. Continue on that one.
Okay.
And then we'll get you on Zoom to meet with Mr. Milk so he
Okay.
can get some information from you.
Okay.
Your Honor?
Thanks for jumping in.
Your
Yes,
Honor,
sir.
I'm very sorry. Ma'am, if someone from my office could give you a call, that might be a little bit easier, Your Honor. I'm also in court, in circuit court with Judge Stokes. If that'd be okay with you, Ms. Householder? Someone from my office give you a call?
I have to go to work pretty soon, so that's good.
Sounds good. I don't think I have anybody else here to be arraigned for the walk-ins.
Okay.
Okay.
You
Thank
have
you,
all
Your
my
Honor.
contacts.
Okay,
Yes,
and I've got your phone number. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Your
Am I
Honor.
all set?
You are all set.
I appreciate you guys jumping in. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, is that all they gave us today? So far. Thank you, Mr. Milks.
All right, thank you very much, Your Honor.